Subscribe to Film Companion for your film fix. Hit the bell icon so you never miss an update. Hey guys, welcome to InStyle with me, Sneha. If you missed the last episode of the show, you can catch it right here. But today on the show, Dr. Vishakha Shivdasani, easily Bollywood's go-to nutritionist who's also a practicing medical doctor. So what does she do to make her celebrity clients look the way they do? We're going to find out on the show, and I promise you there are some tips for you and me as well. Dr. Vishakha, welcome to InStyle.
Thank you.
I have finally got an appointment with you. I've heard it takes about 10-15 days to land an appointment with you. But now that I'm here, me and my team want all your trade secrets.
I'm all yours for the next hour.
I'm hoping that by the time we leave from here, we're going to magically look as amazing as some of your celebrity clients. What I found really interesting is that for you, it's not just nutrition, you are a practicing GP as well.
That's
so
correct.
I'm sure that brings in a lot more to the table when you're treating your clients.
Yes, I hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
because I look at the medical parameters. I look at everything, and every person has a different need, different requirement based on that. So we eliminate drugs, we add drugs, we do whatever. When I say drugs, I mean allopathic medication.
Just to set the record straight.
Yeah. So yeah, whatever is needed. So I don't really send them to an endocrinologist if they're diabetic or they've got polycystic or a thyroid issue. I take care of it all.
But what do you see your patients, generally, what are the concerns that they come to you with?
Weight, of course, that's being the primary thing. Yeah, so they weight loss. They also come to me with a lot of nutritional intolerances, food intolerances that they have. So it can be, gluten intolerance, or it can be lactose intolerance. So I need to figure out how they are going to actually work on those, work around that, especially for Bollywood, especially when they're traveling, because it's not all exotic. Very often they're traveling to interiors where you're not going to get. So I need to work around diets, how they're going to, and they also need to be nutritionally, energetically all there, because that's the nature of their work. They have long erratic hours, they don't sleep well, so you cannot compromise on their diet.
Right.
But you need to do everything that it takes to make sure that they don't have these intolerances and they don't react to them when on set. So
what, like you mentioned, it is really not all fun and games, and it really isn't all glamorous as it may appear to us laymen. But what do you do really to work with their schedules to ensure that these erratic hours and these like crazy schedules are just balanced out and health first?
So there's a lot of food that actually takes care of stress to a large degree. So we like to incorporate that because their stress levels are through the roof. Even the very big names, they might come across very calm. Well, naturally, if you have 16-hour shoots and you can't sleep at night and erratic hours of eating, at the end of the day, whether you're a celeb or whether it's you or me, we are all human, no?
You're busting a lot of bubbles.
Have our needs. Yeah. No,
Stress
I always
is everywhere.
It's everywhere. That's why I tell every person who comes to me, don't aim to be a Shah Rukh Khan or a Shilpa Shetty or anyone. Aim to be the best version of yourself. Right? At the end of the day, everyone's born with, you have certain genes. You're born with a certain eye color, certain skin texture, certain, your height, that you have, which is all genetic based. So you can get Shilpa Shetty washboard abs, by working. Yeah, you can.
Will you tell us how?
But beyond that, you should just be the best version of you. It will also take your self-esteem to a realistic, better place. And at the end of the day, you just need to be in a happy space.
Correct. I want to actually understand what a consult with you really entails. So, if I were to take an appointment, I'd assume it would take me about a fortnight to get here. But now that I am here, how do you take me through how you actually consult with your clients?
So typically they sign up with me for a month because it takes 3 to 4 weeks to see a visible difference. You might see a difference even the first week, but I'm talking about a visible, sustainable difference where you actually understand what I'm trying to do and achieve. It takes 3 to 4 weeks, which is not really long. So you need to see me once a week for at least 4 weeks, where in the first consult, typically I will do Barring a diet recall, I will do more importantly your medical history. So I need to see what medication you're taking. Do you have any chronic illnesses? What your family history is like? Do you have diabetes? Do you have insulin resistance? Because I change the diet based on your genes also and based on your your family history. So we do that. I check your lifestyle, what your sleep pattern is, what your stress levels are, and based on that I will give you a chart. And then I call you in, of course, next week for either a weigh-in if that's what you've come for, or for sugar controls for diabetics. Then I have a fixed protocol for how you need to monitor your sugars. So based on that, we change the diet, we tweak it every week. I don't radically change it because I want your lifestyle to be yours. And it's very easy to completely tell somebody to do something radical and get that effect, but that's so short-lived. So I want it to become a lifestyle at the end of it, and I want you not to come back to me in 6 months and say I've gained all my weight back that I lost, because to me that is failure on my end. Yeah, so I want you to lose that weight and keep it off. But we advocate exercise for health reasons. You don't need to exercise. If you never moved your butt, you could drop 20-25 kilos.
Really?
Oh yeah, if you look at my Instagram, you'll see dime a dozen. And I absolutely dislike it when they say, but we did not exercise and we lost 25 kilos. I'm like, do you need to say that?
But it's true.
It is true.
But like I said, not all of us are as gorgeous as most of your clients. So I want to know, like for a regular Joe like me, I'm going to just hack in and try and see what tips I can get out of you for just having, for example, natural good hair. What does one have to do?
So we need to supplement with iron when necessary, biotin when necessary. Zinc is very important for hair, skin, nails, for all of it. And of course protein. And you cannot go completely low on carbohydrate. You can't eliminate that totally. So for some people who are, again, do these fads and they completely knock the carbs off, they come and say, but we saw hair loss on our pillows like a cancer patient. And I'm like, let me evaluate your diet for you. So you need to make sure you're getting all these things. So, and then you'll have great hair.
Simple. Do you have a magic potion for acne? Because I can imagine as an actor, waking up with a zit or a pimple on a day of shoot can be very, very stressful. So what do you advise in these situations?
Well, if you go really low glycemic, which means if you eat sugars, you should never eat sugars, refined sugars. That's something I tell everyone across the board, across ages, across chronic conditions. The one thing you should not have is refined sugar. So because sugar is the single most inflammatory substance. It's not even a food group, refined sugar. So if you cut off the sugars, you're not going to get that inflammation. And acne really is just inflammation of the skin. And if you have got a zit, then I like tea tree oil. I think that works really well.
Yeah.
And maybe some, salicylic acid based face washes.
That helps. Okay. And say you're like 48 hours before a big event and you want to look your best, but like I said, you just have 48 hours. Is it too late, or is there something that you can do to maybe look your best? Yeah.
You really are taking out all my trade secrets.
I want you.
Well, if you're trying to get rid of the last maybe couple of kilos, the stubborn kilos, and you want to look more than the kilos, if you want that inch loss to look a particular way, whether you're Bollywood or whether you're getting married or a celebrity or just doing a photo shoot or an interview, whatever it may be, you can probably stay off salt completely for 24 hours.
Okay.
Boxers, people who are athletes probably do it for 48. I normally say 24 is good, 48 is too much. 24 hours, and then you also supplement then with magnesium and potassium to counterbalance that sodium, because what is sodium? When you take salt, we always say we've eaten a Chinese meal, we got water retention, we get bloat the next day, my eyes are looking puffy. That's because of it's an antidiuretic, right? So it will hold on to the water.
Right.
So when you stay off the salt, you're losing all your water and you're suddenly shrinking, you're getting dehydrated. So in 24 hours, you'll feel like you've almost shrunk. Yeah, but this has to be, I don't know which camera I need to look into. This has to be done under medical guidance, because people who have hypotension, people who have electrolyte imbalance, we look at your electrolytes and then I'll tell you that, you stay off salt, but this is the amount of, say, unsalted nuts you need to have the night before, because it's going to give you your magnesium and your potassium to balance that, right? So we do those kind of things. Lots of tricks in the tray, and and we give you natural diuretics. So you can drink nettle tea
What you
Yeah.
gave me.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers. Yeah. Yeah, I drink a lot of that. So you can drink nettle tea. You can also drink, which tastes vile though, but works very well. And now is the season of corn, butta.
Yeah.
So if you just peel the corn, the silk, the hair that you get, the hair silk, if you just steep it in water for about 5 minutes and sip that water through the day, it's a very good natural diuretic. So you'll pee more, but you'll remove all the extra water weight. And
This is great advice.
So,
I'm thinking about that butta I had for breakfast.
not
Should have
butta.
saved them.
Yeah, see, corn is actually high glycemic. It's very high in sugar and not a great way, especially to begin your day, because you're beginning your day then with sugar fluctuations.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So-
What's a good way to begin your day, doctor? How do you begin your day?
Always with protein and fat, with protein and good fat, which means I'll eat a whole egg with the yolk.
Okay.
Right? Because the yolk is where the good fat is,
Right.
and that's what keeps you, it's always the fat that keeps you satiated through the day.
Sure.
So if I have my breakfast at 8 o'clock and I'm at the clinic till 2 o'clock, I'm drinking nothing but green tea or nettle tea, right? So that's a good 6-7 hours, but I don't even feel the urge to. So if my 2 o'clock becomes 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock, I'm not really hungry. My bag always has some dark chocolate, so I'll always pop in a piece of dark chocolate in between, which I allow all my clients to have too. So I'll do that.
And finally, doctor, I think it's a good platform to hear from someone like you. There's so many youngsters, RTG is what I'd say 18 to 35, who emulate actors on a day in, day out basis. So what would be like the best piece of advice that you'd want to give to someone watching you right now, just in terms of when they look at the stars and try to emulate them? What would you warn them for or against?
Like I already told you, I think you need to do what works for you and stop aping somebody. See, we also need to understand that the biggest celebrities, the biggest stars, they have people working with them 24/7 round the clock, right? So they will have their fitness instructor, they will have their nutritionist, they will have their doctors, they'll have everyone. That does not make them health experts. Okay? So people who come out and say you should do this because I did that, that might work for you, it may not, it may actually backfire for somebody else. So you need to see and you need to tailor make something that works for you and not blindly follow someone just because they look a certain way. Because you are not going to have an army of people working for you 24/7. Your genes may be different, are certainly different. Your medical parameters may be different. You focus on your health. You can use them as inspiration, which you should. Because like I said, because despite leading the kind of high stress life that they do, despite the erratic eating, despite everything, they still manage to look the way they do. So if they can do that, you can do that. That's the kind of motivation you should get from them. It doesn't necessarily mean that you need to eat what they are eating or do in terms of fitness what they are doing, right? That has to be individual, that has to be focused for you, and you need to focus on health, just not on weight. Everything else follows, but you need to focus on health. Healthy is the new sexy.
My biggest takeaway is that abs are made in the kitchen, because I'm going to go back and do some digging in my kitchen really, because you made it seem so simple and interesting. So I really have a few takeaways, and I hope that a lot of people watching are inspired to keep it simple and stay healthy.
I hope so.
Yeah. Thank you so much for chatting with us. This was really, really informational.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. So avocado, egg yolk, tea tree oil and butta silk. I've made a whole bunch of notes by the end of this episode. What were your main takeaways? Tell me in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe to Film Companion.